Okay, good morning. Welcome to another round of A.B.C.D. We are up to the eighth advantage a Baal Bitachon has over our alchemist friend, our con artist, our counterfeiter, whatever you want to call him. So he says, "Vashmini shabala kimika enu misakev b'shum makom." A alchemist, your con artist, your counterfeiter, he can't just stick around in one place all the time. He's afraid that his secret's going to be revealed. People are going to find out. This guy doesn't work. All of a sudden, he's buying all these different types of things. A little sus, as they say. Another reason why he has to really run around is because business. He's a businessman, right? You heard about a deal going on over here. You heard about this option over here and this opportunity over there. You always got to run around. But on the opposite side of the coin, we have the Bitachon Belikim. He's bevitcha ba'artzai. Rabbeinu Machai writes. He's promised. He has trust in his land where he is. Ubenuchas nefesh b'mkayma. He's able to live peacefully where he lives. He doesn't have to run around. Kemoi shekasuv botach b'Hashem asad teiv shachin aretz urei emuna. Trust in Hashem, do good, live in your land, and like shepherd emuna. Okay, so. Rashi writes on that pasuk, similar to last week, talk about tzedakah, right? How sometimes it can be difficult to give your money away. He writes, "Atein la'ani tzedakah b'me'as parnes." Rashi writes on this pasuk, don't say that, if I give money to a ani, what am I going to be mefarnes with? Without bitachon, it's normal to feel afraid to part with your dollars. What if I lose my job? What if more expenses all of a sudden come up out of nowhere? Sometimes this anxiety can get so high that you can't even enjoy the life you're living in the moment. You're so nervous about making the next buck so that you can experience the next experience, and you can't even enjoy the day that you're living right now. Rashi writes, continuation, after don't say that I shouldn't give tzedakah to the ani. He says, do we stop the video again? No? Great. Okay. He says, Ta'oichel u'tisparnes mischar hamuna shemunus b'Hashem v'lismech alav. You should, instead, what should you do? He says, you should eat and be mefarnes and sustain yourself. Mischar ha'emuna, from the reward that your emuna, shemunus b'Hashem, your emuna and Hashem, obviously, v'lismech alav, that you're relying on Him. That you should be able to sustain yourself and live your life on the schus, on the schar of your emunah. That's all you need. There's a Mishnah. We quoted it once or twice already. In the end of Kedushin, it's loaded. But it says, right? You should teach your son a job, a profession that's nikia, clean, right? It's safe from any bad midos. You don't have to steal. You can be honest. Vikala, and light. Not so hard. Doesn't sound like kala is not with a chaf, but with a kuf. It sounds like not a 12-hour shift. It sounds like a college job, a light job. And daven to the person whose riches and whose items, whose nechasim, are his. She'ein umnus, there is no profession, listen to this, guys. She'ein ba aniyas vashiras. There is no profession in the world that doesn't have both poor people in it and rich people in it. Shalei aniyas min umnus, v'lei ashiras min umnus. Because poverty and richness does not come from the job. Ela hakol levis chusay. Rather, it's all according to your zechusim. Similarly to Rashi says, right? It says you should eat and mefarnes yourself mischar hamuna, from the schar hamuna. It's all on your zechusim. It's on your tefillah. It's on your bitachon. It's on your chesed. It's on your Torah. What came first, the chicken or the egg? What came first? The chicken, maybe. What came first, the chicken or the egg? Similarly, what came first? Your parnasa or the job? You think the job comes first. But it's not true. It's really akol lefis chusay. It's nothing to do with your profession. Imagine you can live your life knowing that whatever job I have, it's all my chusim, it's all my relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it's all in what I deserve with Him. I don't have to worry about which job I have, whether I'm a street cleaner or a lawyer or a doctor. Hakol lefis chusay. You have a gzar din, Rosh Hashanah, you can change it throughout the year, through your tefillah, through your bitachon and all that stuff. But your gzar, your parnasa came first, not your job. There's a good story, I like to say, called The Professor of Anipoli, where a chussid goes over to his rebbe, and he says, what? I don't know. It's the Professor of Anipoli. I don't think it has anything to do with Rav Zusha. I don't know if it's your story. The idea is an important part. The Professor of Anipoli, a chussid comes over to his rebbe, Says, I have this crazy illness. I'm going to all the doctors around here, and no one's able to help me. So the Rebbe goes, you know what you should do? You should go to Anipoli. There's a professor there. He's known as the professor of Anipoli. You should go visit him and ask him, what could I do? So the guy goes out and he treks through the Sahara Desert and climbs Mount Everest and does everything he has to do to get to Anipoli. And he walks into the city and he starts, asking around. No, where's the professor? Where's the professor? And everyone's like, I'm not sure who you're talking about. Okay, you don't know. Goes to the next guy. Where's the professor of Anipoli? What's his address? We don't have a professor of anything here. Goes to the next guy. Where's the professor? Where's the professor? No one knows where this professor is. So he treks back across the Sahara Desert, under the bridge, over the tunnel, and goes back to his Rebbe. Rebbe, they said there was no professor of Anipoli. Oh, I said professor, the Rebbe says? Maybe ask him for the doctor of Anipoli. So again, he goes back, and he treks, and he goes, and he travels to hopefully find this doctor who could help him out, who could cure him. And he starts asking, no, where's the doctor? Where's the doctor of Anipoli? And gets the same response. We don't have a doctor of Anipoli. And the guy gets even more frustrated, gets back on the train, travels, and goes back to his rabbi. He goes, you're losing your mind, Rabbi. There's no doctor, there's no professor, there's nothing. There's not even a hospital. What am I supposed to do? He goes, why don't you go back and ask them what they do when they're sick? The guy's like, fine. He goes back a third time. And he says, he goes to the city people, there's no doctor, there's no hospitals, what do you do when you're sick? So they all answer, what do you think? We daven to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The Chovos Levavos says a similar story, that a businessman, traveled to different cities to do business. And once he met a guy, an Ovid Kachavim as he calls it, and asks him, they start talking. And how does it go? I want to make sure I read it correctly. Never going to find it in a moment. But he asks him, I'll do my best. He asks him, they start talking, who do you serve? The guy asks the Jew, I serve the man who's all nechasim are his, he controls the world, everything is a footstool to his feet. And the man goes, well, your actions are contradictory to your words. He goes, what are you talking about? He goes, well, if your master, if the person you serve, if your God is this powerful as you say, why do you have to come all the way here to do business? So I thought for a moment, he goes, you're right. Goes back to his town, doesn't leave, and he realizes it doesn't make a difference if you're Timbuktu, New York, LA, wherever you are. Kadosh Baruch Hu is able to reach us and give us what we need and what we want and what we down for. Baal Bitachon is able to sit in peace and enjoy his life where he is right now instead of having to run. I want to end off with one more malbim that's on this pasuk that he writes on Roya Emuna, to herd or to shepherd Emuna. What does that mean? The malbim writes, and we talked about it a couple times already, right? If you want to grow something in your heart, try to picture. So imagine this, right? You want to grow in your bitachon, you want to be able to really rely on HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that he's able to give you whatever you need. What can you imagine yourself like? Like a sheep. He says, the malbim writes, Re'ei Emuna, tidma kekeves. Consider yourself like a sheep. Shemamin shehaharim yatzmichu tamin chatzir ve'esev. That this sheep is constantly, he always has emuna that the mountains are going to grow grass and are going to grow fruits and vegetables or whatever the sheep eat. You know how like the elephants and the migrations, they all go from one water hole to the next because they know that they have like that trust in their ancestors and their minhagim that you go here, you find water, you go here, you find grass. They always know that if I just, the land will always provide. If we can connect ourselves just a little bit to what these animals could feel, what this lamb could feel, and know that always there's another mountain behind this mountain that has more grass. The grass will always sprout, the rain will always come. We're able to grow in a bitachon, live a life that we're able to focus on what's important and just grow in our relationship with the HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Chaim.